with prior management, very much ran Canopy like it was the Wild West. But you are the former CFO of Constellation Brands. Talk to us about the financial discipline you and any new executives your team have put into the company.
Yeah, so we talk about ourselves as pioneers because there are challenges that present themselves on a day in and day out basis in this really tricky market. But we think it's really important to focus on execution, which is why we love this Canopy USA structure, because it allows businesses that we already have an interest in, like Acreage, Wana, and Jetty, to begin working together to extract cost synergies across the business, to extract revenue opportunities across the business as the U.S. market opens. And then clearly, as we apply that to Canada, the Canadian market continues to evolve. We continue to have to differentiate ourselves versus a growing competitive set. And I think that is just, execution on a day in and day out basis. And it's really not about, driving the story of cannabis anymore. It's about executing the business of cannabis.
Do you believe that we will see passage of the marijuana banking bill and other legislation that allows for the cannabis industry and for your company to experience the growth that it's anticipating in tapping into this market in the U.S.?
Look, there are 5 more states that have cannabis on the ballot for legalizing adult recreational use this fall. So, and already 2/3 of Americans live in a state or locale where cannabis is legal in some form. We need the federal government to catch up, and there's just a lot of momentum building there. We've seen bills in Congress, both houses of Congress, both parties, and then a bit of a breakthrough a few weeks ago when the administration announced the beginning of their support for what we believe will ultimately be full federal permissibility.
David, in Canada, where there is more broad legalization and permissibility, the market hasn't quite turned out to be as profitable as you and your peers might have hoped for. How do you think the U.S. should maybe take some lessons away, or what would you hope for if and when we do get full legalization that is different from the Canadian model?
Well, I think one of the things we can do in the U.S. Currently is we can talk to our consumers and we can educate our consumers and we can talk about what cannabis is, and it's a legitimate and important consumer product. And I think being able to just connect with our consumers a little differently in the U.S. market would be a differentiator versus Canada. But as it relates to Canada, we still think the market opportunity in Canada is an outstanding opportunity. Here, it's a $7 billion industry versus the $50 billion industry in the U.S., but that is a very large market, and we're still in the early days of the market really shaking itself out to be the market that we know it will become.
Respective of the quiet period that you are in right now ahead of earnings, I gotta wonder, naturally, for the larger space, how the cannabis industry as a whole is managing through a higher operational expense environment, and what that potentially means for just having the financial cash flow in order to weather and navigate even through some of the transitions that you're seeing here.
Yeah, clearly every company's fighting the battle. For us with cost inflation and supply chain disruption. For us, we've been able to manage through it nicely across our businesses. We've had some supply shortages in our Storz & Bickel vaporizer business, but for the most part, we've been able to manage through with good planning and focus on execution. But we're in the same boat, I think, that every other industry is in.
All right, I'll leave it there. Canopy Growth CEO David Klein, good to see you. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
T-Mobile CEO has some tough talk for rivals Verizon and AT&T after a better than expected quarter. T-Mobile CEO Mike Sievert joins us for chat coming up.